save my soul tonight. I'm humbled at your feet. Surrender my life to your hands, to your son who died for me.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Well, come here. Hold on. Let me
Go ahead.
come here.
Let's see. Oh, isn't he handsome? Hi.
Tell Miss Josie hello. Hello, everybody. We're going to start this show. They're just leaving for Florida tomorrow, and I'm trying to tell them goodbye.
Well, look at how handsome he is.
But anyway, yeah, that's Miss Josie. Tell her hey.
Hi, sweetie.
I got apple.
He's got apple.
You got an apple? Did you have a fun day? Did you have a fun day today?
Go to Mama.
Hi, Martha.
I love you.
Love you too.
All right, y'all have a good time.
We will.
Be safe. Have a good time.
Hey, Martha.
We'll wait a little bit and see if some people come in and some can watch the replay.
Oh, I think several people always watch the replay.
Yeah, this is kind of these discussions. Sometimes people don't want to express themselves and they just feel more comfortable watching the replay, and that's okay.
And some people alert, which is fine.
Yep,
and
no problem.
They'll linger in. Hey, Leslie.
Hi, Leslie. And the subject today is foolish people and
hey,
are you easily manipulated?
Say that again, Josie.
Foolish people and are you easily manipulated? That's our subject today.
Yes,
and,
that's going to be a good topic.
I think in so many cases, it holds true.
And I think we've all been manipulated. If we've lived long enough, we've all been manipulated.
Yep. I've learned to just forgive everyone, not get mad, but I won't go back into a situation where there was problems. I've learned I can love them from a distance.
And a lot of people, they say, I hear people say, I love you from a distance. But let me tell you something. You truly can love someone that has manipulated you, used you, been betrayed you. You can love them, and you have to let them be where they are because you don't want them to disturb your peace.
Yes. Hi, Pamela. Welcome.
Hey, Pamela.
Wait a couple minutes and then I will do my introduction. I do type everything out because I talk a lot, and sometimes when I'm just jabbering, I forget what's important to say. So I have it all written out. And we learn right along with you. Yeah, we're not here to judge. We're not here to condemn anyone. We're all human. We learn right along with you. We've all made mistakes that sometimes, it's taken me old age to finally learn. So,
have you ever thought about that, Josie? Why we can't learn it in our 30s, early 40s? I've found out that I've learned things and I'm thinking, why didn't I learn that earlier?
Hi, Theo. Well, the hardest thing when you get to my age is you want to protect younger people. And I have to remind myself, when I was young, did I want to listen to some old person? No. Because I thought, they don't know what they're talking about. I know it all. Well, I've found that, you know what? If I had
Older people
listened,
do. Yeah.
if I'd have listened, my life might have been a little easier. So that's the hardest thing for me because I want to mother everyone. I want to shield them from going through nonsense and stuff like I went through. And I finally realized I can't do it because we all have to learn for ourselves.
Yeah, because failures and mistakes and things that cause us pain, we learn through that, or we're supposed to.
Mhm.
And once we learn that lesson, the next time we see it, it's like,
Yep.
I hurt too bad when I went through that. I'm not doing that again.
And I will read my introduction. Let's see here. Okay. Welcome to Josie's Place, where we talk about real life, real truth, and real awareness. Today's message might step on a few toes, but sometimes that's exactly what we need. We're living in a time where people are being influenced by every direction, told what to think, how to feel, and what to believe. But here's the question no one likes to ask. Are you thinking for yourself or are you being led? Because being fooled doesn't mean you're weak. It means you stop questioning.
That is so true because I find this more often than not, Josie, and I don't know if you feel the same way or anybody in the comments. I've always made my own decisions, whether they were wrong or right. And I didn't have a problem with being wrong. And I would always admit, okay, I was wrong. But there are people in the world that want other people to make the decision for them, and or either tell them what to do or choose things for them. But what kind of life is that if you allow someone else to be such an influence on your life that you're not even choosing when you go to a restaurant what you want to eat? Because a lot of people will say, well, what are you having? Now, I can understand that every once in a while. But I mean, every time they go with somebody, what are you having? And they don't even know how to choose anything off a menu because everybody's already made all their decisions.
And Angie, you and I have seen this, and I know other people have, even on social media. And by the way, hi, Mickey, welcome. Say one person doesn't like another person, they don't even want you to go in to their live stream. Unless somebody's personally done something to me, I'm not going to let anyone tell me where I should go.
And that's you adulting. I mean, you are adulting. When you become an adult, you start making decisions not on emotion, but on saying, hey, this person hasn't done anything to me. Exactly. I'm not going to play into that, you'll stay out of here if you are my friend. Well, first of all, if you were my friend, you wouldn't ask me to do that. You know what I'm saying? So you could turn it around the other way also.
Yeah.
But and once that person ever does that to me, then I start questioning their motives. The person that asked me to do that. I'm like, why would they ask me to do that?
And we can't all like the same thing. Whether it's how we dress, what we believe in, our faith, what we eat, what we want to buy, we're all different. Why can't we show respect for each other? Why can't we even admit our faults? I've learned it's a freedom that you can't imagine. It's kind of like the first time I sized down from a bigger house to an apartment. I remember that feeling of getting rid of stuff I didn't need. It was like I was a free woman. Well, it's the same way. When you don't let people manipulate you and you make your own decisions and your own choices, you will feel the freedom. And who's to say, you know what? I always say, God didn't make junk. You're as good as that next person. Don't ever let anyone put you down that you're not good enough.
And I think I shared this with you before. I would rather somebody respect me than to like me. I mean, you don't have to like me. and I've said this over and over, I'm a firm believer that everybody can't like everybody. And we have so many different personalities in this world. It would be unreal for, somebody to like everybody and want to be friends with just you. It would just be unheard of. That's a big responsibility.
And people who learn to manipulate other people, have you ever seen someone who did you wrong? And when you start pulling away, all of a sudden they start crying and putting on the boo-hoo. Don't ever let that get to you.
No, because they're losing control then.
They're losing control, and that is fake. And hi, John. Welcome, welcome. You must be done with the auction. And let's see, Nicole. Hi. Welcome,
everyone. Claudette said, people are easily manipulated when others play with their emotions. A manipulator might charm you with excessive praise to make you feel comfortable and trusting before asking for a favor. That is so true. They're buttering you up. They're buttering you up.
Oh, yeah. The same way. Say you have this friend and several friends, and you've helped them. And you don't expect anything in return. You've done it with your heart. But all of a sudden, something happens in your life. And maybe you could use a little help or a little encouragement. How many people, you find out who your real friends are at that point. How many people has come to your rescue? Your fake friends won't be there. All of a sudden,
when the rubber hits the road, you're going to find out who your true friends are. Yeah. Or let someone pass away. Let someone pass away. Family members that are all getting along, and then let one of their other family members pass away, and then you're going to see the true people come out.
Oh yeah. Especially when family members, when there's a will, they never help take care of grandma and grandpa. They had nothing to do with them, but all of a sudden, just before that person dies, they're there with their hand out. Those are fake people.
Nikki said, what about when your children do that to you? She had a question.
Okay. Can I be honest? I have two sons. One is absolutely a Christian. I mean, a good guy. And it's not because he's my son. I watched him grow in his Christian belief. I have another son who I haven't actually seen since 1998. I've talked to him on the phone. He blames everybody in his past. He's into politics. He could talk 2 hours on the phone on politics. He says he's read the Bible. And he's a good guy. I mean, he's never gotten in trouble. He's educated. But he doesn't have a heart. And you know what? It took me a while, but it don't bother me anymore. In fact, I've written a letter, and I told my son here where I put it. When I pass away, my son is supposed to give him the letter. I'm not angry. I love him because I gave birth to him. But you walk away. You can't make someone love you.
Well, you can't have a relationship if it's one-sided.
No.
I mean, two people have to work at it. They have to work at it.
Just because it's family don't mean you have to put up with, and I can go into more detail, but I won't. My son did it to the same thing to his dad. So it wasn't because of a divorce or anything. So you walk away. You don't let family manipulate you. You hope that you can if you can mend the fences, put it that way. If two people mend the fences, that's wonderful. If you can apologize, if you did something wrong. And if they really accept your apology, it'll work out. But it comes to a point when they're not willing to bend at all. You just quietly walk away. Don't be mad. Pray for them. Yeah.
And see, if your son ever calls you, I mean, you can just tell him exactly what you just shared with us.
I have.
I've been praying for you. And see, I've had to do the same thing with family members lately after my father passing away, and what happened to me during his funeral and the way I was treated. But, sometimes you just have to separate yourself from people to have peace. It's not that you don't love them. It's not that you don't care about them. You don't want anything bad to happen to them.
No, you pray for them.
You pray for them, but you got to turn it around and look at, well, then why did they treat me like that? I mean, I didn't never do them like that. You can't always look at your side. You got to turn it around and look at the way they're what they're doing to you.
I've even apologized to my older son because, I divorced his dad. I did everything humanly possible. And now that my answer is, he says he read the Bible. If you really believe, if we don't forgive, when we stand before the Lord, he's not going to know us. I don't care how hard it is. I don't care what happened to you. You have to forgive. And it's a freedom I can't even explain. My life, I'm 85 and I'm in the prime of my life right now because I feel free and full of love.
Forgiveness is a process, okay? You may have something towards somebody and you say, I forgive them. But when you see them the next time, it's just like you get this, ooh, but you keep saying to yourself, I forgive them. And it's a process. It's not, that feeling doesn't go away overnight.
No.
You don't but eventually, if you truly forgiveness, and I know we're not talking about forgiveness, but if you truly forgive someone, eventually you're going to forget about that and you're going to go on with your life. And the next time you see that person, it's going to be like, you don't have a feeling whatsoever. It's like, okay, well, there they are.
Well, and Nikki, thank you for the comment. And my older son is still mad at me because I didn't let him go to his sister's funeral. He was 8 years old. And he says I excluded him. Well, when my daughter died, I talked to 2 or 3 different people because I didn't know. I thought, do I let my son go and see his sister in a casket? And I got both answers. Some said, please don't let him go. Some said, let him go. I finally decided I didn't want that memory in his mind forever, seeing his sister in a casket.
But see, you ultimately made the decision, Josie. You ultimately made it. And for you, that was the right decision.
That he threw it up to my face and said, you excluded me. And I can't, you know what? Like I said, I pray for him. I hope he has a wonderful life. Like I said, he's a good guy. He works. He's,
Claudette says, I think we see right through it. I have been manipulated when I was younger, but we learned to see what to watch for the next time. Oh yeah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't take you long to pick up.
And we've all been manipulated. I don't care. There's not one person on this earth who hasn't been manipulated, especially when we're teenagers, because we want to be like everyone. We want to be like our friends,
Well, I try not to ever manipulate somebody ever. And if I have, I hope I've never played those games because I grew up with the master manipulator. By the time I was 12, 13, 14 years old, I had seen ways to manipulate people that I was an expert in it because my mother was the master manipulator. I mean, she manipulated everybody that came into her life, including her children, her husbands, so I had seen just about all of it.
I swear, Angie and I could have had the same mothers because my mother was just like her. And
Oh, yeah.
she lived to be 98. And she was a spitfire. And I have here written, in today's world, being foolish isn't about intelligence, it's about awareness. A foolish person is not someone who lacks knowledge, but someone who refuses to see. Someone who ignores truth, follows blindly, and allows others to do their thinking for them. And we can take suggestions from other people. There's nothing wrong with that. But when someone looks at you and says, you need to do it this way, back off.
And sometimes it's just a choice. It's not a right or a wrong. It's just what you prefer. Like some people like hamburgers, some people like cheeseburgers, some people like hot dogs. It's just a choice.
Ella, can I just play this for Ella?
Sure.
Okay, let's see here. Ella. Thank you so much, Ella, and so good to see you.
Nikki said, when you get older, seems everyone wants to manipulate you when you are alone. When I was in the hospital a few days ago, since I was alone, I didn't exist. That was my discussion with my son last night, and he rejected what I wanted to do with my life insurance. Well, here's the deal. You make that decision what you want to do with anything that belongs to you, whether he thinks it's a good idea or not. And if it's the wrong decision, you made it, but it was yours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes. It is hard. Like I said, I feel very blessed to have, and I always say, God knew I needed my son because I've told this story before. I had a boy and a girl to begin with, and I didn't want to have any more children. And all of a sudden I got obsessed. This was before my daughter was diagnosed. And I got obsessed with having a baby. And I know now why God sent me. First of all, I lost my daughter. And second of all, my older son would have not cared if I lived or died. So I was blessed.
He sent you Clint. Yeah.
He gave me Clint.
Scooter said, hey, ladies, yep, it's hard. I haven't seen my stepdad except for my mom's funeral in 2022, but haven't seen it since 2021. I'm at peace with it. Yeah. I mean, if nobody is willing to have a relationship with you, why keep putting yourself out there to continually get hurt, over and over again when it's on them?
Scooter does Monday Motivations, and a very wise lady. And she's went through a lot in her life. And I admire her. And I've watched her grow. And I know I'm the oldest one in there. So I kind of think, oh, you guys, come on, get real.
JEK said, hello, family. Good to see everyone. Welcome in. Scooter said, I take care of my stepdad as far as financials go and make sure he has all the medical needs met and such at the nursing home. I attend to all the care meetings, but that's at arm's length. See,
it's hard, but there's things. It's kind of like my mother and I didn't have a good relationship, but I'm the one that arranged all her funeral and I tried to give her a good goodbye, Sometimes you got to put those feelings aside and do the right thing, even if it's hard. And so I understand, how Scooter feels. Life's not easy, guys.
Josie, read right up under Nikki's she said she's talking about you have gone through so much and I truly respect all that you have gone through. And then underneath it it's got JEK. Do you see that?
I did not let my daughter see her brother in the coffin.
I've been divorced as well. Did you see that? JEK?
Yeah. Yeah. But that's another thing. By being kind and loving, we don't know what the other person has endured in their life and is going through right now. And I have found in my life, say, my first reaction to somebody maybe wasn't really good. And when I got to know them, I thought, wow, I would have missed a wonderful friend or a wonderful person if I didn't give it a chance, because we don't know what each of us have went through. And I think our past is what I said not too long ago. Well, I sure made a lot of wrong decisions in life. And some sweet lady said, but it made you who you are today. And that's true.
Hey, Robin, welcome in. Welcome in, Julie.
Hi, Robin. And I'll be quiet. I've been talking too much. Let's let Angie do some talking here.
Well, when Josie sent me the topic of this month's the topic for this month, it went right along, which God always plans it that way with things that I have been going through since my dad passed away. But manipulation and things going that how and I shared this with Josie. You know how one day that you see a person one way and the next day after they've done something and you actually watch what they do, your eyes are like open, like you've never seen it before. And then you can't unsee it. It's like, oh, they've been treating me that way my entire life and I never even noticed it. But then all of a sudden you noticed it because I guess I was going on living my own life and really wasn't paying attention. And one day you don't see something and then the next day you do. It's just like it's clear. It's like, why did I not see that yesterday? But you wake up and you can't unsee it. You can't unknow it. And you have to play it out for your own well-being. You have to have peace about the way it plays out. You can't continue to let people manipulate you, even though they've been doing it for years and you never even noticed it until one day.
You want to address Nikki's, my entire family is gone. I think you would have some good advice for her.
Wait, where it isn't? Where isn't?
Says my entire family is gone now. I think you could help her.
Okay, so I'll share this. When my extended family, I have two sisters, a brother-in-law, nieces and nephews. The other day back in March when my father passed away, I had not spoken to my father in 7 years, but it wasn't because of my choice. It had something to do with my mom and I not getting along. Okay. And I just stayed away. And he tried to call me one day and talk to me, and I talked to him, but I realized he wasn't at home. He'd always call me from another location. And I said, why don't you ever call me from your home? I said, oh, she doesn't know you're calling me. I said, well, no, I'm not going to be that. If you can't let her know, if you can't say I'm calling my daughter and talking to her, to your wife, then I no. And that's why he and I didn't speak again. But I went to the funeral. Okay. I did. I showed up, I spoke to everybody, and I was coming from a good heart. I wasn't angry at any of them. I greeted my mom. I gave her a hug. but they just, none of them spoke to me hardly. Went to the graveside service. My sisters, my two sisters that are not his children, were sitting under the, what is it called, Josie? The tent?
It's kind of like an awning or a tent,
Yeah.
like that.
With my mother. I'm sitting out in the driveway where you drive into the cemetery, like somebody drive in to go to a place to put flowers. There stood my family, me, my husband, both my children, my granddaughter, and I'm his only living heir. And I can't even get up to the tent where he is. So it was just like they treated, and I thought, which my mother had always treated me that way. But then I saw what my sisters were doing to me, that I thought they would never, ever do that. And my eyes were just open to, oh my gosh, they've been doing this the whole entire time, my whole entire life. And I just shut it down. I just told James, I said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm over it. I'm not going to allow them to treat me like that ever again. And I wasn't angry about it. Yeah, it did hurt me. I'm not going to lie about it. But I wasn't angry. And I told both my children, I said, if you want to have something to do with your aunts, y'all are adults. Y'all can. But your mom, I can't. I got to have peace. I can't be manipulated and used like that anymore. So I'm telling you, even though you've been around family members your entire life and you finally wake up to the fact that, number one, they're either using you for something that they need, or they're treating you a certain way because of somebody else wanting them to, you need to just back away and just see if they come back around again. And if you have, and I've had peace about it ever since March. I've slept. I have had total peace about my decision. And I was, like I said, I was hurt. But Nikki, I'm telling you, if you will just let things about it, because I've done a lot of praying, and let things work out the way, don't try to control the situation. Just let it play out. Mm-hmm. Whatever's supposed to happen, God will allow whatever to happen. And you'll have peace about it. And that's when you'll know it's the right thing, is when you have peace about it. But yeah, once your eyes are open to a person, you can't unsee it. So I'm telling you, you're doing fine. I know it hurts. It hurts, but you're on the right track. You're doing, and you can make decisions. I don't know why your child thinks you can't make decisions. You seem to be a person that can make decisions. If that's what you choose to do, then you need to do that.
You just have to be strong and say, hey, I'm still in my right mind. It's a little different when dementia and Alzheimer's sets in. That just because you're old, do you know actually Alzheimer's can hit somebody in the late 40s and 50s? Do people realize that? And
it's getting earlier and earlier.
Yeah, it's not like some people think, oh, well, you're old, you're not. Hey, I've taken care of some elderly people who were in their 90s and still sharp. It's more common amongst elderly. I agree, totally agree. But there are younger people who are dealing with the same mental issues.
But when you're dealing with a foolish person, I have this in here. It says a foolish person is always loud. Sometimes it's they smile a lot, nod, and keeps repeating the same mistakes. A foolish person is not simply someone who lacks knowledge. Foolishness is often knowing better, but refusing to do better. They're choosing to just not do what they're supposed to do. That's what a foolish person does. Yeah. Not that they don't know what they need to do. They're just choosing not to do it. And then you have the manipulator that's trying to take advantage of whoever they can to get what they want and control someone to make them do what they want. And you know what? This has always just stood out to me. Why would you want someone else to control you or make up every decision that you are supposed to make? Or why would you want, that makes you look foolish, really, for someone else to. And like I said, sometimes you don't recognize it until later, because you don't want to believe the person would do you that way, would treat you that way.
Mhm.
And so that's why you have to really know yourself. Know that when a red flag comes up, that red flag is not lying to you.
Yeah.
No matter
And
what
don't,
anybody else says,
and don't make excuses. I'll use again, without naming names. I've seen it on social media. When a person has a problem with one or two people, you kind of say, okay, maybe it's both fault, because we're all human. But when that person has had problems with maybe 15 or 20 people, do you stop and think that maybe it's that one person? Think about that. And by the way, Nikki, you're doing a fabulous job. Just don't ever give up. That's my word to everyone. Never give up. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how sick you are. Never give up.
See, Robin said, I never knew that my mother is a liar until I grew up. Well, see, you were her child. And you expected her to tell you the truth. You just like me when I was growing up. I expected my mother to be truthful to me, but she never. For years, I thought my oldest sister's father was my dad. She even took me to his funeral when he passed away, and I shared my oldest sister's last name. I didn't know I had a different father till years later, but I always thought I was different. I was like, wait a minute, something's not right. And if I didn't look so much, well, at the time I thought I looked like my mom, but really I looked like my biological father's family, blonde hair and blue eyes. But when you lose trust in your mother, who's supposed to love and protect and not lead you astray and not do things to you, and then when you find out that that's not who they really are, you can't unsee that, And then you think, well, if my mom can't love me, who will? First of all, the problem lies with her, not you. And it took me years to figure that out because I thought it was something wrong with me. And then I thought, I'm just a result of something that happened one night. I didn't do anything wrong, So it wasn't on me. It was on her. But she made me feel like I had done something wrong. So, you got to look at that too.
Yeah. My only time I remember my mother telling me she loved me, and I don't know how it happened that day. She was 70 years old. And one day she said on the phone, she said, I love you. And I thought, I never heard that once when I was a kid. She was 70 years old. So
maybe she really did, Josie, and she just let that slip out without her even realizing that she even said it.
He was so busy. My mother was so busy wanting to be a wealthy lady. And like I said, she was the only girl with 7 brothers, and her dad spoiled her. She didn't grow up in a wealthy family, but she got what she wanted. And then she married my dad, who was a poor farmer. And all I remember, she complained every single day about being poor and unhappy. And God gave her 98 years, and she wasted 98 years feeling sorry for herself. How sad. I will not waste one day. And that's why I stress to everyone, just enjoy.
See, we never said I love you in the household that I grew up in. That wasn't words we used. And I always said when I grew up and had a family, I would say that to my husband and my children. That was going to be a thing that was going to change. I was going to say that. If I love you, I'm going to say I love you.
I say it to my son and my family every time I see them.
My grandbabies, my children, my husband. There's nothing wrong with saying that, But what I want to say about this, you never know what your parent went through while they were growing up. Okay, let's just say that's true. I don't know what my mother lived through. I don't know how she was brought up.
Mhm.
But I do know that my grandmother, I was her favorite. She favored me out of 12 grandchildren. And she never treated any of her grandchildren like the way my mother said that she was treated growing up. But here's the thing, my mother had an opportunity to change when she became an adult.
Yep.
You don't have to stay in that same situation. You can choose to be different, just like I did. I could have been a drug addict, an alcoholic, a prostitute, I could have been anything, any one of those things. But I made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to be like that, you know? So, yeah, I'm sorry she went through whatever she went through as a child. I really am. But then you got to grow up and you got to have accountability for you, and especially if you just kept having children. My sister, I'm 22 months younger than my sister. 18 months later, my brother came. That's all by 3 different men. And then my baby sister came by my brother's father. So I'm just telling you, sooner or later, you need to catch on. I'm not doing something right, you know?
Well, all I heard from my uncles that my mother was a spoiled brat. And from the knowledge I have from the family, she was never abused. So
She was just
who
spoiled.
knows?
A lot of people say my mom, she's the baby of the family. And they say that she was real spoiled too when she was coming up. So I wasn't there. I don't know if she was or not. She never talked about her past. She never told us anything about growing up, except a few little things of being, mistreated or whatever. But it just wasn't discussed. But I do know that several people said she was spoiled.
So anyway, what I think we're trying to get across to everyone, think about your decisions. When you make a decision, view all sides. Don't let someone tell you how to make the decision. Don't let somebody manipulate you into doing what they want you to do, because it might be right for them, but it might not be right for you, because it's your life. And I always
have one. You only have one.
You only have one. You don't get reduced. You don't get reduced. And age has nothing to do with it. I mean, look at my mother lived to be 98. We hear every day people dying at 30, 40, 50 years old. Children. Age has nothing to do with it. I say value each day. If something is bothering you, then figure it out.
John said, listen for the options, but self has to pick. Exactly. Yeah, that is so true, because when it comes down to it, listen to what others are trying to maybe give you advice, but when the rubber hits the road, you have to say, look, I appreciate you trying to help me. I appreciate you giving me this advice or that advice. And here's the thing, if that person gets angry with you because you didn't choose their way and you want to go with what you choose, you need to
run.
You need to question that too, because they might say, because here's the thing with my children. I never, ever, if they call me and say, Mom, I want to ask you, would you do this, this, or this? I will answer them. But I always say, now, if it were me, I would do this, but you decide for you what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You decide. And I'm not going to be angry at whatever decision you make.
Yeah.
I'm going to love you. And if it comes to you making the wrong decision, I'm going to love you through it. Yeah. So I don't ever try to make them choose even though I know it might hurt them, the choice that they have just made. I'm going to let them do it, because I'm thinking they need to learn something through this. Yeah.
And yeah.
Hey, Francine.
Hi, Francine. Don't be easily led. Don't be easily shaken. and don't give away your ability to think for yourself. Stand firm in truth, walk in wisdom, and remember, not everyone who speaks loudly is right, and not everything that feels good is true.
It says trust discomfort. You know, it's nothing wrong with feeling discomfort. You know, a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to hurt. I don't want that to feel bad. Most of the time, we stand up and pay attention when we're in pain. But if everything's going right, then why are we asking for advice? Or why are we trying to make a decision when everything's going lovely? You know? So,
Nikki, you have to read what Nikki has to say about a relationship.
wait, where is that?
It's 445. It says, oh my goodness, as a nurse.
Okay, let me get back up there to that. Oh, yeah. As a nurse, I'm sure Josie understands. I came here to Pennsylvania to take care of my grandparents' parents.
No, it's down further.
Oh, like further up? Yeah, yeah, because that's at 6 something. Okay.
Yeah, this is 4:45 p.m.
Okay, hold on.
My time. It says, okay. Oh my goodness, as a nurse, I had a YouTube friend. That one.
So what time would that be my time? It was 4:40, 4:45.
It's right before Francine.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get there. Because Francine just came in. Hold on. I'm going, y'all. I'm going.
Okay, it's right under Francine, where Francine says, hi, Claudette. Good to see you again.
All right. Oh, my goodness. As a nurse, I had a YouTube friend that had a broken neck and was homeless, so I wanted to help. He ended up physically abusing me and squatted, and I had a hard time getting him out. Oh no.
Nikki. You can't, and I have to say, without getting into things, there's a lot of that kind of thing on scamming and stuff on social media. Don't always, I mean, when you have a good heart and you want to help, it's easy to get drawn into these situations. But there's a lot of fakes out there. Before you get involved and do a lot of research. I have done background checks on people before. I know how to, I've done it for years. I know how to find people on YouTube, and I've done background checks. Before I ever, a long time, many years ago, I was on a dating site. Before I dated somebody, I did a complete background check. And
Nikki, I'm so sorry that happened to you, honey. I really am.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've lost trust in just everything after that happened. I'm sure you went through a lot with that.
Oh my gosh.
I cannot even imagine. Thank you for sharing that with us. I know that must have been hard for you to do that, but I'm so thankful. I can make decisions and I can read people really well, you know, but when it comes to your own family, sometimes James has to say, like, wait a minute, hold on, let's look at this full picture here, you know, because you never want you to think that your family would do you a certain way, but they will. Okay, they will. And when you see it, don't doubt yourself. Don't say, oh, I'm just imagining, I'm just this. Take time and really pay attention to it and see how many times that it happens.
Oh my gosh, Nikki. You're in my prayers, girl. You've been through.
I'm just glad you made it through it. I'm just glad that you lived through that, Nikki. I really am.
And I hope you feel very safe here. The stories here, other than somebody watching the replay, we're not going around gossiping or let me tell you, if my heart goes out to all of you. We all have got skeletons in our closet. We've all made mistakes. that we're very blessed to be here.
Oh, she said, when I called 911, he actually went into the bathroom and hit himself, and the police were going to arrest me because he had had marks when I was the one thrown around. I hate not helping anyone. No, honey, you got to think of you first. Your well-being is the most important thing.
Yep. You're the one
I hope
that's
you know that. And that's not being selfish. That is not being selfish.
Yep. And especially when say in a relationship, either way, women hit men too. So I'm not pointing fingers, but when someone hits you and then they cry and say they're sorry, don't believe it. They're going to do it again. And maybe next time it's worse. Somebody who is that violent and has such a temper and accuses you of, oh, I hit you because it's all your fault.
That's manipulation right there. And that's narcissism all and bundled up in one package. But a lot of times, because we, like her, want to help people, want to do the right thing. She went into it with the right heart. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But this person just saw that. They saw that they could do that to her, you know?
I always said, I learned a lot for years, like since 2003. I used to sell on eBay, and I did close my store the last year and a half because I'm too busy. That I heard every story in the book, and I laughed at one. It's not funny, but one lady who at that point you could see when there was a bidder how many auctions they bid on. Now with security you can't. She had bid on 100 auctions, and her story for not paying the bill, and I understand there was many stories, but the one she told me is her parents got burnt up in a car. Well, if your parents just died in an auto accident and the car burned up, would you be on eBay bidding on all these auctions?
I don't.
So I don't believe stories. If you contact me and tell me a story like that, I don't believe it. I don't fall for stories. I've heard every story in the book.
You know, it's like I think I shared with Josie, my son is totally different than my daughter. He thinks because he would not hurt someone and be ugly to them, nobody else will do him the same way. Now he's gotten better about it. But as a teenager and as a young adult, you know, being in college, and you know, it just took him a while to catch on to that because he had such a big heart. My daughter, no, she is the opposite. She does not trust you. You have to earn her trust. Matt automatically gives his out and lets you do with it what you want. And my daughter said the other day, I wish I could be more like Matt. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. But it's okay to have a caring heart. I'm not saying not to. That's what you should have. But don't be so gullible as to think just because you wouldn't hurt someone, you wouldn't do something ugly to someone, doesn't mean that they wouldn't do you that way. You know?
Yeah. Use some common sense. And especially, I think we see more now because of social media. We see, actually, I think more abuse. I'll have to honestly say, my generation, my son asked me about that not too long ago. Mom, in all your years, have you ever seen the world like it is today? And I said, no, I really haven't. People cared about, we didn't have a perfect world. No, never has been, never will be. But I've never seen what I see today.
It seems like everybody's just out for themselves. It's just, they're so selfish and self-centered, and they don't think about anyone but just what they can get, what they can have, what they can, you know, how they can use someone. I would not be able to sleep at night. And I'm talking about some of this stuff that goes on YouTube. I would not be able to sleep at night if I had treated people like I have seen others treat each other. I couldn't sleep.
And when you put, and I will never put money before the Lord Jesus. I will not ever, and how should I say this? I would not put up with somebody who was evil because of money. I'd starve first.
I agree. I am not going to take something. Well, I don't really like somebody helping me anyway. I've always done things on my own. James and I have always figured out a way through our marriage to get whatever. And what we have today, we've built. But I don't want, number one, for you to hold that over my head. Number two, I don't want to owe another family member or somebody that's related to me and it feel uncomfortable when we get around each other. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. If I had to, and that's the only resort I had, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And hi, Mama Bear.
Hey, Michelle. Welcome in. And Tina came in. Tina May.
Oh, hi, Tina May. Welcome, welcome.
And let me just say this while we're talking about manipulation and foolishness and all that. You are God's creation, okay? I believe that. I'm a Christian.
Yep.
God made you, okay? It took your parents. Don't get me wrong. It took your parents. But he created you. You are worthy to be treated with respect and with love and kindness. Don't ever let someone make you feel like that you do not meet up to whatever they choose for it to be a standard, or your outward appearance is not as beautiful as somebody else's, or you're less than, or whatever. You go to that mirror if you have to, and you look inside that mirror and you say, God created me. Thank you, Lord. And I'm beautiful and I'm worthy. And I'm not going to let anybody treat me like I'm not. You know, and build that self-esteem up, and don't let someone, and a lot of times people that do that, they're the ones with low self-esteem. Mm-hmm. It's the ones that treat you that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing. Robin. She said, not long ago, my mother said she really considered aborting me. Okay, Robin, hold up. Let me address wow.
When my mother was pregnant with me, her parents didn't find out till she was 7 months pregnant. She was going to put me up for adoption, but they didn't want her to. I don't really know how the story goes. She tells one side, my grandmother and others told another one. So it's neither here nor there. But when you are carrying a baby, that baby knows whether you are wanting that pregnancy or not. Okay. So I do believe that if it wasn't for my grandparents, she would have put me up for adoption. Okay. Because she already had my sister who was 22 months old. And here she is having another one. And I'm a result of a one-night stand. So it wasn't like she and the other man were going to have a relationship 2 years later when they ended up getting married when I found out who he was. But anyway, I'm telling you, I've been through the same thing. But here's the thing. I don't hold any animosity or anger toward her. I really pray for her. I can say I honestly love her as a person. It's not the same as a mother-daughter thing, you know, mm-hmm. Relationship like Taylor loves me. I'm her mother, and I love Taylor. She's my daughter. It's not that kind of relationship. I don't want any harm to come to her. You know, I don't want anything to happen to her, but we're just not connected. We're not connected because for 7 months, and even through my life, she has proven that she didn't really want that pregnancy. And once that happens, you can't take that back.
No.
Yeah, what's the purpose of telling to hurt you?
Yeah, that's cruel. I mean, that's cruel.
Yeah. But it's not on you, Robin. You're not less than. It's not on you. It's on her. It's not on you. You're a beautiful person. I love you, Robin. when I met you, when we met up and, we went out to eat and all, I mean, you are a great, funny, beautiful person. Don't ever let someone make you think less than that.
Well, it's kind of like my mother, when she was mad at me, she called my dad the old man, and she'd say, you look like your old man. You act like him. So when someday there was her birthday party that a relative gave for her, and somebody told her that her daughter was beautiful. Oh, she looks like me, and I almost threw up because I thought, all my life you told me I looked like my father. And that's the kind of mother that I was raised by. Anyway, you learn a lot about us, don't
Well,
you?
thank you for saying I'm sweet, Robin, and I hope I am sweet.
Yes.
But I'm telling you the truth. I really do feel that way toward you, Robin. And like I said, immediately when I meet someone, I can size them up within 2 or 3 minutes of just meeting them. And I've met 4 or 5, 6 people from YouTube, and there's been a few that I'm like, okay, I'll just have to be friends with them from a distance. But you're not one of them. I
No.
mean, you and I would meet again. I mean, we would have lunch again. I could see us going out and doing things. I mean, so no.
And Angie puts up with me, who's always talking.
I put up with Josie now, but y'all know I love Josie. But anyway, when you, that's more common. This is more common than, you're not alone, Robin.
No.
You're not alone, honey. And that's what tries to get in your mind is, well, I'm the only person that's ever had to go through this. And you think that it has something to do with you, like you're inadequate, like you're not enough, like you've done something wrong. What in the world could you have possibly done wrong, Robin? You were a baby being born that either she chose or not chose to have. You had no say-so in it. I mean, it just happened.
And we come into the world and we have to learn, and if our parents aren't being that loving parent like they should be, but I also believe once you hit a certain age, it took me many, many years to be different than my family. It wasn't easy, I can tell you. I had to work at it, and I always said I wasn't the typical Italian because I worked very hard to be different than my mother. But it's not easy. I mean, I can honestly say I'm 85, and probably the last 3 years of my life have been my best.
What do you mean I was born female? What do you mean, Robin? Did I say he? Did I say, I don't know what she means.
Yeah, I don't know. Did somebody tell you you were not?
We are very similar. And a lot of times when we share these stories like this, it allows the chat and other people that will watch the replay to realize, oh my goodness, I'm not any different. I mean, I'm okay. I'm actually a very loving, kind, people can love me kind of person.
Yep. And I always say, as long as I respect your beliefs, as long as you don't push it on me.
They wanted a boy. Oh. Okay, let me share this with you. I had a neighbor when I was growing up, and I lived with my grandmother. Her daughter got pregnant, wanted a little girl. She had 2 boys. She left her little boy at the hospital because he wasn't a girl. Her mother comes to pick the baby up, and her mother raises the boy. His name was Matthew, because she wanted a girl so bad. That happens. I have seen it. And I would just like, are you kidding me? The Lord bless you with a baby, and you're just going to say, I wanted a girl or I wanted a boy. That I had babies because I love babies. If Taylor would have been another boy, I would have loved her just like her being a girl. never said I wanted a girl or a boy
Yeah,
or
I just wanted healthy babies. I didn't care what they were going to be. And when I had my babies, there was an ultrasound, so we didn't know what we were going to have. And I have to say, since I didn't have a sister, and I always wanted a sister, I wanted a little girl, but I didn't think God would give me a little girl. And guess what? God sent me a little girl. She was my first. And
I get that, Josie.
I always said, and on the 30th was the old Memorial Day was the 30th, and that's with the day she was born. So May 30th, I always do a memorial video in honor of my daughter because she's the one that gave me the faith that I have today. I would not.
Michelle said, I've been treated better by people on internet than most of my blood family. See there, sometimes you just have to, God sends people into your life to love you when when you've been hurt by your family members. He will send people in there if you'll just accept it, and start trusting it little by little. Because I know once that happens, you can't throw your trust out there like crazy, but just start rebuilding.
If I can say something, Miss Sandy has had the most beautiful mom in the world. And I have, Sandy's a very close friend of mine, and she was blessed with such a beautiful mom. I wished I had her mom.
And when I was growing up, I would see families, and actually a cousin of mine, her mother, who I'm named for, my middle name is her mother's name, and she was actually my mom's first cousin. Their family, I envied that family so much because I thought, why couldn't I have a family like this? But I believe the Lord allowed me to go through everything that I've been through so I would know how to have empathy for people that were going through what I lived through. You understand what I'm saying? Because we have so many people in the chat that have actually been through the same thing. And if I had never been through that, I wouldn't know how to empathize, or Josie wouldn't know how to empathize if we would have had this miraculous leave it to Beaver mother. You know what I'm saying?
People who
know what we're talking about.
Do you know some of the poor people actually donate more money to help the unfortunate than rich people? Do you know that? And do you know why? Because they know what it's like, and they have a heart, and they care. So the more you go through, it sounds crazy maybe, but the more you go through, the better person you become. If you allow that to happen in your life and you don't get angry
and bitter and
bitter,
it
makes you wiser, stronger, like JK said. And anyway,
Scooter said, I lost my mom. I now have Mama Sands, who I love so much.
Yes. Sandy is Scooter's second mom, I'll say that. Yeah. Sandy is, she's in my heart.
Robin. Oh, Josie, let me respond to this. Respond to this. She said, I deprive myself of having children for fear of being like my mother.
Oh, Robin.
Robin. When I met James, the two conditions for us to get married was I was not going to live in Louisiana and I was not going to have children. So he said, okay. Well, the longer we stayed married, he wanted a child. I kept saying, I'm not going to have children. I'm afraid I'll be just like my mother. I don't want to treat it. He said, but look, you know how I am as a man. I would be good to him, but I'm sure you will be maternal. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to take that chance. So eventually he talked me into it. And I said, I'll have one. If it's a boy, we won't have any more because it'll carry on your name. Everything will be fine. Well, I didn't find out on a sonogram or an ultrasound what I was having because I didn't want to know because I wanted a boy so bad. So I had him, and the doctor says, it's a big old boy. I looked right at James and said, oh, I don't have to do this again. And he said, oh, you'll change your mind. And I looked at him like, that's not something you say to someone that's just given birth to your first child. I mean, come on. So then 4.5 years later, he starts saying he doesn't need to be an only child. He doesn't have any first cousins. You don't want him to grow up by himself. He talks me into another pregnancy. I have Taylor. And let me tell you something. I would not take anything for that. And I'm so glad that my mom didn't win that, because I was literally not going to have any children because of the way I was treated. And I'm so glad that it wasn't me, and I loved him enough, and I knew he'd be a great dad. I knew he would. And I kept saying, well, if I'm not a very maternal mother, I know he'll be a great father, and he wouldn't let me mistreat him in any way. He would call me on it. So I'm just telling you, our stories are so much alike.
But see how when we talk like this, how you feel like you know someone better and you have something in common, and we've all got a history. And that's why I truly believe that there should never be any drama or anything horrible, that everybody has something good in them.
Robin, I got 2 children, 3 grandbabies that would love to have an Aunt Robin. So don't worry about children being around, honey. We can get you children. Don't worry about that.
And anyway, let's see. What else do I have here?
I'm so glad that the chat has got involved.
Oh, you guys are wonderful today, always. Do I follow the crowd without thinking? Ask yourself this. Do I follow the crowd without thinking? Do I believe things just because they sound good? Do I let emotions outride truth? Because the truth is, if you don't stand for something, somebody else will decide what you stand for. Be wise doesn't mean being suspicious of everything. It means being grounded. It means using discernment. It means not allowing your heart or mind to be easily swayed. And I hope we try to keep these about an hour.
Yeah, I hope we have jumped around so much tonight. I hope that we have made some sense out of some of this topic, but y'all have had so many great comments that we were skipping around.
And you guys are all loved. And if you know anything about me, I have something I live by. I will never say anything behind your back that I don't have the guts to say to your face. And I live by that. I don't gossip behind your back. If I say something and you came to me and asked me, Josie, did you say it? I'd look right at you and say, yes, I did.
And I'm not going to tell your story. Okay. Nope. You know how other people will hear somebody's story and they'll go back and say, oh, do you know this happened to her? And now, if you want to tell mine, you can. But somebody that you know doesn't want their story told, I will. I mean, that's theirs to tell. Why do you want to tell somebody else's story? And they may not even be comfortable telling somebody else yet. They may be keeping it close to their chest where they don't want to share it. And then when you start talking about it, it makes it worse. It makes them retreat back into even more reclusive, So I'm very inclusive and not exclusive. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm that type of person, and I'm the same way Josie is. If I say something, you come to me and say, Angie, did you say this or that? I'm going to say, yeah, and this is why I said it, and I'll probably explain myself.
And my email is always open if you need to talk, if you're having that desperate moment, and you send me an email.
Me too. Mine's in my, used to be the about page, but I think it's the profile now. I'm here. I will, you want to email me? Josie and I email a lot, and ask each other questions. And I'm not afraid of emails. You can send me an email. Josie's not either. You know, if you have boundaries, we have boundaries too. So we'll just cover those when we get an email. But
So,
tonight has been great, and I appreciate every one of y'all.
I'm going to let, since I've talked so much, I'm going to let you do the closing today.
Okay, let me read. Hold on just a minute. Let me read this right here. Hold on.
Hi, Terry. Welcome. And you can watch the replay if you like, Terry, because we're going to close in a few minutes.
Okay, it says strength, self-worth. The more you're secure, the more secure you are, the less people can manipulate you. That's why I say build up your self-esteem, build up your worth. Tell yourself you are worthy of being loved and cared about and treated the right way. Just know that. Don't let somebody mistreat you. Not everyone deserves access to your mind. Just don't go out telling everybody everything. That's what sometimes people have a fault of they're looking for somebody so bad that they're just keep telling everybody they come in contact with. Make sure that you pick and choose who you confide in, who you want to talk to. Make sure they're worthy of it. And that's what I'm closing with. Make sure that you absolutely know who you're sharing your story with, because a lot of people can't hold water. That's what we say here in Mississippi. You can't hold water. They want to go and tell it.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you, I love each and every one of you. Just know that. And I'm here for you all.
God bless you. And thank you for being here. And next month it will be on Miss Angie's. And like
I'll
I said,
come up with another topic.
Yep. God bless. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.